Here's Stitch Pink 2020, block 18. That's a pretty one. And
Catch a Falling Star.
Catch a Falling Star was its name. Thanks, I was forgetting.
Hi, thanks for joining us for Stitch Pink 2020 Block 18, Catch a Falling Star. I want to explain something at the beginning. Now after 18 blocks, I'm telling you, I am trying to do these the way these are written. They're not my patterns, so I'm just trying to help people if they're cutting them, following the cutting directions. If you're making flying geese and you want to use wing clipper or flying geese ruler or the folded corner method, you go for it. I'm just trying to show how to do it the way they have them cut. I don't usually do it like this either, but it's working out very well for me. So I thought, well, let's go ahead and continue it that way. So always feel free to do it another method. Make your half square triangles oversized, trim them down. I'm not going to come check on you.
No quilt,
you
please.
do it any way you want, but I'm just trying to help people if they're using it the way the directions are. And except for that block 14, it was a booger, and I had to come up with another way to do that. But
so far so good with the others.
So far so good. Yes, I think it's working very nicely. Okay, so the first thing we want to do on these, guess what? We're making some flying geese. I'm doing it with the triangles because that's how I cut them. So we're going to take the B triangles and we're going to take the little C triangles. I'm going to turn this around where it's right side up to you. I'll remind you again, in case this is the first one you're watching, when you're making them like this, when you put these together, I started to move it around, you line up the bottom two edges exactly. So you don't want them overlapping anywhere down there. You can see they're only overlapping on the very top corner. That's where your 1/4 inch seam is going to be, so you can get your point. So you sew this one on, you flip it back, and be sure you press it back before you sew this one on, and then you'll do the same thing on this side. So I'll go get those done, finished, and then I'll be back to show you something else you can do to make your set together go a little bit faster.
Okay, time to go sew.
Okay, I've got my little flying geese units put together. Now we're going to lay this out. But before we do that, you notice these are stars, and normally you take your center square and you put your points, your little flying geese, all the way around the edge with your little corner squares, and you make your star first. But we're not, thanks Lisa, I was just laying in there, I wasn't looking, because I'm not going to sew it, so like this. But we're not going to sew them like that because
even though the block looks like 4 of those.
Right, and it is 4 of those. However, there's not a good way to sew them together when you sew this together first. So instead of doing that, you need to take 8 of your flying geese units and sew them together like this. So you're just going to sew that unit.
Almost looks like a square and a square then.
Right, so I've done that. And then now we can sew them in rows. So now we're just going to lay them out into rows, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. So here's our little puzzle we're putting together again. And an F rectangle. Am I running out of room here?
You kind of are. Slide it over a little bit more. There you go.
All right. Then we'll do this one, a pink square. So see, now your star is going to be forming. That one goes in there. This one goes here. Then another star point.
Okay.
Then this one. And then the very, very center. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put them together the same way. That.
By putting them together the same way, you mean that the seam is running across here?
Yes.
And across here.
That's all I meant.
Okay.
I don't know in the long run if it would even make a difference, but
it'll just look better.
They had the, in the diagram, they had the seam running up and down and vertical on these and horizontal on those, so I just thought I'd do it the same. You know, I have to follow directions. I'm going to move this up a little bit. Now it's a wonky star now.
Yeah.
Okay. I think these colors are so pretty. Oh, that's got a little sticker on it. That's why I couldn't find it earlier.
Mm.
There. Now, it's not very pretty, but now when we sew this together, we're going to sew this little row across here. We'll sew this row, these 2 rows. We'll have 5 rows, and we'll sew those together.
And then you'll have your block.
Once again, it tells you how to, the arrows tell you how to press your pieces when you sew them together if you want them to nestle together, or you can press them all open. So your choice.
Okay.
All right, thanks for joining us for block 18.